Good evening, Arthurs. Okay. Oh, the microphone's over here. The camera's over there. So, I'm leaning in away from the microphone. So I'm getting on quickly to tell you about my gaming theories. Now, have I invited boys to be a part of this conversation? Absolutely not. Even though Mr. Ludiclore is part of the industry, and he will probably be devastated by my ignorance when he watches this video. I was talking to my boyfriend about my gaming theories, and just out of pure frustration, I said, you know what, I'm going to go on the internet and I'm going to put out my theories about gaming because I feel like it. So I apologize in advance for the fact that this has no relevance to literally anything. But as with keeping with the theme of this channel being just where my brain goes, wherever it goes, sometimes my brain goes to different things. Like I did the little video about how true crime is a thing, right? So that is a thing. I believe that and I'm going to do a long form video about this, but not right now. But I believe that part of the ideological subversion that we have been programmed to, programmed under for the last, 15 years, is that people, the sexes in particular in America, my theory, this is all a theory, allegedly, my theory is that in America, the genders, generally speaking, are programmed to have specific likes and dislikes and, thereby think specific ways. So, and I said I was going to do a long form video about this, but maybe I won't. Maybe I'll just say it now. I have several of Thomas Sowell's books, and if you go on YouTube, he's put out some really great videos where he explains about LBJ and how the welfare system was created specifically, partially to dismantle the, in his books he talks about how LBJ used it specifically to cripple, the black population and destroy their family units. Because coolest statistic that I had ever heard him say, post-slavery, black people had the highest percentage of two-parent households of any demographic in the United States. Now, once LBJ put into place the welfare system, if you look at Thomas Sowell's video about that, he talks about how he can show you charts of how the rates of money assistance that you could get if you had a child without a father, as that went up, so did the rates of women having babies without fathers. And then so you see, as that number goes up, obviously the number of two-parent households goes down, specifically in the black demographic. Now, that being said, that I think fits perfectly into the way that you could demoralize and disintegrate a nation would be to dismantle the family unit. And my theory is, obviously, they specifically, Thomas Sowell talks specifically about how that was used to cripple the black community. And it did a great job. But on the flip side, not specific to any, I don't think, race specific, but I think under those same guidelines, if you look at women in America, a lot of them are obsessed with, again, those two things, right? The sappy romance Hallmark movies. Don't judge me, I love them. And I don't care how sappy they are, and I don't care how unrealistic they are, but that's the point, right? They're super unrealistic. They give us this inflated idea of what love is supposed to look like, and what our soulmate is supposed to be, and, you know, who we're looking for. And then on the flip side of that, there's the true crime. Almost every female that I know in America loves true crime. Now, again, what I had talked about in the short video was that there is this, it's one of those social norms that if you really think about it, it's disgusting, it's repulsive, that Americans, largely, men and women, but predominantly women, are fascinated, not just fascinated with true crime, but we're like addicted to hearing stories about people killing each other. And we think of it as entertainment. Like, I saw a video today on YouTube about how it's super popular that all of these channels are girls putting on makeup and like lightheartedly telling you about how somebody like massacred his family, and they say all these grotesque things, but they do it like jokingly, and they're, you know, making themselves pretty while they're doing it. And it's sick if you think about it. It's totally sick and twisted, but it's an accepted social norm that in America we like true crime, and that's disgusting. That being said, I also, like, female in America, I went through my phase of being addicted to true crime. I watched every Dateline episode, and then after I watched it, I got on Spotify and I listened to every episode. Some of those episodes I listened to multiple times. And, like, every single show that you can think of that had true crime, I watched it all. And again, I love Hallmark Christmas movies, right? So, like, I totally fall into both of those categories. Now, on the flip side, that's what I think that women have been programmed to be attracted to, those things, and those things train our brains to think a specific way. Now, set that aside. On the flip side, I believe that men in America have been trained to be addicted to not instead of true crime and sappy love crap, like movies or whatever. I think that men have been trained to be addicted to video games and anime. And I have seen this throughout, like, every job that I've ever been in, every social circle that I've been in. People have been crazy about video games. Men have been crazy about video games and anime. And I hate that so much. And I know that I take so much flack for this because obviously I'm Japanese and, like, my people created anime. I don't care because I can't stand it. For one, I have been told so many times, like, you look like an anime character. No duh, because I have the face that the characters were based on, like the Japanese face, obviously. But I think that there's obviously genres of anime that over-sexualize women, Asian women in specific, so, like, that irritates me. I've gone to places, like, out in public where I don't know people, and guys will come up to me and just start speaking Japanese to me, and I tell them, like, I'm American, I don't speak Japanese, so I don't know what you're saying to me. And they just keep doing it because they think it's a flex, and then they say, oh, you know how I know how to say those things? Because I watch anime. Cool, I don't care. That's not, like, now you any cool points that you might have had, you just deducted all of them because I hate anime. But beside the point. The point of this video was that I was going to come on and tell you my game theories. But that was based on the idea that I believe that men in America are being programmed to be addicted to video games and anime, specifically because if you think about the idea of ideological subversion and how part of how you disintegrate a nation is by tearing apart the nuclear family, right? Because if you can do that, if you can separate the family and have the men over here and the women over here, and they get them to the point where they don't need each other, then you don't even have to worry about disintegrating the family at that point, because you've already trained the guys to have no interest in the girls and the girls to think they don't need the guys, right? So follow me on this. I feel like it makes sense. And again, allegedly, this is all my opinion, blah de blah. Like, get in the comment sections and tell me that you think I'm wrong, because most people will anyways, but just hear me out. In America, I cannot tell you how many men in my life, if they're not like 50 or older, are obsessed with video games. And it drives me crazy, because I feel like video games and anime specifically are being used to program men to stay little boys, to not ever grow up. Because all of the men that have talked to me about anime are like, they're so childlike, and they're, and then I talk to men who are from a generation before that, do they have like fun interests, hobbies? Sure, but they don't stay with that childlike mentality of they don't get on and game for hours and hours on end. They'll maybe throw some sports on and have it on for a couple hours, but they go about their adult lives and like do adult things. And whereas the anime and the gaming worlds tend to suck more of your attention in, and they're a lot more addictive, I feel like. But the game theory, this is how we got on this topic last night. We were talking about game theory and how I said that there's a big difference between video games on the console versus video games on the computer. And my boyfriend did not understand what I meant by that. And I said that if you think about it, and this is, again, Mr. Ludiclore is probably going to argue me to the death about this, and that's fine, because I'm not an expert. I'm just... Please pause. Please hold. Okay, my apologies. We got interrupted by a phone call. So I was saying that I have these theories that there's a difference between console games and computer games. Because when I think about console games, I think about games that have like there are levels, there are bosses that you have to beat, there are specific goals, and they tend not, I mean, nowadays they tend to be a little more story driven, but like I grew up on traditional like regular NES or like Super NES, and so video games were not in those days, video games were not all about storyline and everything. But then if you think about computer games, from the extensive experience that I've had dating a bunch of gamers, computer games to me are a lot more like Sims, where they're more open form. They're about the world that you create, and this is the outfit that I want to wear, and I want to, get this design for my gun, and like it's more of an immersive alternate reality where you create, like, whatever it's called, Minecraft or whatever. Is that what it's called? I don't even know, because I don't even play the games. But they're all like Sims, where you're just creating this alternate reality, and then you're when I think about people like WoW, like I had I have a couple boyfriends that played WoW, World of Warcraft, where it wasn't a game that had a bunch of levels that you had to go through and then bosses that you had to beat. It was just this big universe where like you and all your friends could be on all at the same time, and you could talk to each other and like change your outfits and change what your character looked like, and if you wanted to hang out and do absolutely nothing, you could do that. But like, bro, you can do that in real life, instead of all, like, my ex used to sit in his apartment, in his room on campus with his best friend in the next room and their best friend in the next room, and like a bunch of them would sit in the same apartment in different rooms on this game and like not really do anything, which was the strangest thing to me. But that's what that's what my experience with people who played computer video games was, where it's like this whole, it's really an alternate reality where you go into this universe, there's no point to what you're doing, you're just getting on and like living an alternate life, versus where you're on a console, you're playing a sports game, or you're playing a first person shooter, or you're playing, you know, a traditional like Mario type game, or even if you did like Final Fantasy type games, those games, though I don't like the fact that they had the attacks where you walked up to the enemy and you had to, like, the options would come up on the screen of, do you want to attack this way or this way or this way, and you would push a button and then just wait and watch your character like, attack. I hated that. Like, I'm the Tekken girl. I loved playing Tekken, so I loved button mashing and like having to remember which buttons in which combination were which moves, and like in live action seeing them do what I was trying to control them to do. But all of those games on the consoles had missions to them, and it wasn't a never-ending world that you could just do whatever you wanted to. And in those games you didn't care about, well, what is my character wearing, or like, what is her hair gonna be like, you know, do I want to put a different jersey on him? Do I want to change the color of the jersey? Now it's starting to get a little more like that. But even in the console games that do let you tweak that a little bit, you're still, the point of the game, there's still a point to the game where like you have a mission that you have to complete, and there are levels that you have to go through, and there's a storyline to it that's already like pre-scripted, versus the PC games where it's more just open forum, let's go build, look at this garden that I made, and I'm growing these creatures, and you know, all that stuff. So that's my big game theory, and I was told that that's strange, but I think that that's #facts. So if you're a gamer, tell me that I'm wrong. In any case, the ultimate point to that was, I think, and you can tell me if you think that I'm wrong, because most people probably do, I really think that if you look at previous generations of men in America, while they did have hobbies, they were never hobbies that were all consuming to where, like, I had boyfriends that flunked out of classes because they spent so much time playing World of Warcraft that they missed their classes. And I just don't, I don't think that former generations were like that. And I largely think that was the design of specifically the video games, was the video games and the anime is to keep men as boys, because our society needs men, needs strong, wise men who are brave, who can do things that women cannot do, who can protect women, sometimes from themselves. But society needs that, and we need women who don't think that they don't need men. And if you wanted to dismantle a society, if you wanted to dismantle a country, one of the best ways to do that is obviously dismantle the family unit. But if you never even had family units that you had to dismantle, wouldn't that be great? And how do you do that? Train the women to think that they don't need the men, or give them this hyper inflated idea of what love should look like, and train the men to like stay little boys, and train them to never even, I mean, you can hear stories online, on television, about how some of these guys are so addicted to gaming and the what's the word I'm looking for? Whatever. Like the serotonin or whatever it is in your brain that it's pumping, those addictive things in your brain that happens because of the games, that they don't even stop to think about women at all. Like, they don't care about women because they're feeding off of that addictive whatever. You know, video games are just like any other kind of technology. Like, apps, if you're scrolling through YouTube, if you're watching shorts, whether it's on YouTube or Instagram or TikTok, they're all designed to be addictive. They're all designed to keep you hooked to them. And video games are the same way. They're designed to be addictive. And it's proven fact that it's a thing that some men are so addicted to it that they don't even think about women. So if you could get men to never think about women and never give a thought to like, hey, I should probably stop this and go, instead of building my online garden or whatever it is that you're doing, like maybe I should go find a wife and have a child. And then you train the women to think either I'm a girl boss and I don't need a man, or give them a hyper-inflated idea of what love should look like, which that's me, right? Like, I love the sappy romance movies where at the end, like, Some Kind of Wonderful is one of my favorite movies, and just the idea that in the end he runs after her because he realizes that he loves her. Like, that's unrealistic. That doesn't happen in real life. When the girl walks away in real life, the dude lets her. That's just what it is. But in my brain, as a child growing up, like watching Cinderella and Some Kind of Wonderful, If the Shoe Fits, like all of these movies trained me to think if the girl walks away, the guy's going to come running after her and he's going to tell her he loves her and he can't live without her. And the truth is, that's unrealistic. But if you are trained to believe that, then that's what you're going to go looking for. If you're trained to believe that a guy has to make $100,000, otherwise he's, you're too good for him, that's what you're going to look for. And so now you have entire generations of women who are waiting until I'm old, but my life has been the way it is because I made bad decisions. But there are women out there that are as old as I am, or possibly older, I don't know, who are not yet married and don't have children because they thought, well, he didn't make enough, or like he didn't have all of these markers that I expect him to have, because we've been trained to believe that the perfect man should look a certain way and he should have certain things, and the soulmate is a real thing. And if that doesn't end up looking like what you want it to look like, then there's always the true crime, right? So like I said, Snapped was a TV show that was only about women who killed their husbands, their lovers. Like, it was about women killers. And I mean, yeah, if you train an entire generation of women that love should look something like what it will never look like, and they think that men should just worship at their altars and give them everything they want. Like, the fact that women are called queens, like, but like, not like drag queen, but like, women are called queens in society. Like, you can find signs that have queen on it, and like for girls that are sparkly and everything, because some women are just like, they like to be called that. And I think that that's crazy, like, to hyperinflate a woman's sense of self where she would think that highly of herself is absolutely insane. But we have an entire generation of that now, and it's ridiculous, but 'tis the world we live in. So, I know I said I was going to come on and tell you about game theory, and I told you about game theory, but then I also told you about a whole bunch of other stuff. That's my thoughts. Those things have been in my head, and I just wanted to put them out for everybody to tell me that I'm crazy if that's what you think. But I am interested in having this conversation further, obviously, with Claire the Anonymous, because she has theories about why women like true crime. And then, obviously, at some point, I'm going to have this conversation with Mr. Ludiclore, because he's going to tell me why my game theories are incorrect. But my feelings are valid, because that's my personal experience. And you can't tell me that my lived experience is wrong. Whatever. Obviously, I'm joking. Like, I don't believe in all that crap. But that's just, I think that it's important for us to realize that about ourselves, instead of just being addicted to things or like just liking what we like. It's important for us to realize sometimes that things that we love can be bad for us. Things that we're addicted to, things that we absolutely like lose ourselves in. Like there were video games back in the day that I used to play that I would just sit there for hours and I would play. It's called Wario's Woods, and I still have it. It's on Super NES, and I love it still to this day. But I could plug that in, and for hours and hours and hours, I could play that. And then at the end of those hours, I've done nothing with my life. I've wasted my life. Columns on Sega, another one. I think that was Sega. That was one of my favorite games. Like, I love those. And those were like the precursors to Candy Crush and all those other games. But they were way better. In any case, I think it's important, especially with just kind of where the world is at. Like, if you're a Jesus person, right? Like I was raised with rapture syndrome, where I thought that like at any moment, on any day, within the next week, within the next day, within the next hour, Jesus was going to come back for me. So I didn't have the luxury of time. I thought that 20 years ago. So 20 years ago, I didn't do anything because I thought I didn't have the luxury of time. How much more today should I be thinking that I don't have the luxury of time? And with being about to turn 40, and the fact that my father died so young, he died at 55, I'm like starting to think about how many years do I have left? What is it that I could be doing with that time? And if I spend all of my time sitting in front of a TV watching true crime, or if I sit all my time in front of a TV and play a video game, or, you know, whatever it is that's eating my time where it's not giving me value back, that's super important, I think, for us to take stock of and audit and like figure out, is this something that I should be putting my time into, or should I not? Is there something else better in life that I should be using this time for? Because time is it's an investment into something. All the time that you put into things you're investing into those things. So what is it that at the end of that time that you've put into it, what is it that you're going to receive? If I put time into taking care of my dogs, I know that I receive a unconditional love and a full heart of just joy and comfort and stress relief, because that's what they give back to me. If I do that with a video game or with sitting and watching true crime, I can't say that I walk away from it feeling refreshed or feeling... It's like when I went through that phase after I was assaulted, where I watched Suits every single day, and I noticed that every day after I watched it, I would be like infuriated. Couldn't tell you why. I would be in a bad mood. I would be pissed off at everybody, and then I realized I did an experiment and I stopped watching Suits. And every day that I wouldn't watch it, I would be fine. I'd be in a good mood. Every day that I would watch it, I would be angry all the time. And I realized if you watch Suits, every single episode is the women picking apart Harvey and like yelling at him and telling him why he's a piece of crap. In the exact same way that if you watch House, almost every single episode, somebody has anal bleeding. It's just a thing. I'm not the person that writes these things, so you can't blame me. But I can spot patterns, and these were patterns. So I think it's important for us with life to not just be caught up in things because they feel good in the moment, but really take stock and realize that time is an investment into something, and everything that we're putting that investment into, we need to audit what it is that we're getting back. And if there are things in your life that you are putting a crap ton of time into, but you ain't getting anything in return, you probably should #make better life choices. I like to say that. Make better life choices. I like to say that at other people. I don't like to say that at myself. But I'm going to start making better life choices, because look at this, people. This right here is a ring that I love very much. But if I wanted to get engaged, I could not do that, simply because I have gotten so fat that this ring will not come off my finger. So I have started to exercise and be better about what I'm eating, because, see that? Like, to an extent, like, I'm gonna have that, but I have put on so much weight, and I know that it looks like I have 17 cameras on myself right now, because each camera puts on 10 pounds. So, like, I have all these extra cameras on me. That's why I look like this. But if I want to get married, I have to lose weight so I can take this ring off my finger so I can put a wedding ring on it someday. And, like, that's one of those things. I have to take stock of my life. I have to make better life choices. And if I have to do it, you have to do it too. So let's suffer together. I hope you have enjoyed my ridiculous rant about literally everything that has been ping-ponging around my brain. Listen, it's okay. I've sent out an email to ask about getting tested for ADHD, because apparently maybe that's why my brain ping-pongs everywhere. If that comes back negative, then this is just how I am, and you just have to deal with it. But like and subscribe, and turn on the notifications so that you hear whenever I post a video. And nobody knows when that will be, because I don't believe in, like, doing things in a timely manner or, like, in a specific fashion or anything. I'm just gonna be crazy and ping-pongy because that's how my brain is right now. So, welcome to the Freak Show. Love you lots. And, I don't know, like, audit your time and tell me what you think about my theories, even if you think that I'm crazy, but, like, say it nicely. I have feelings. But tell me what you think about what your game theories are, what your theories about the different things that men are addicted to versus women, and all that jazz. Tell me what you think. And I don't know what the next video is going to be about. I don't know when it's going to post, but if you turn on the bell, you will find out when I post it. Love and stuff. Okay, bye.